Today's topic is that God expects me. I'm going to deliver God's message with this topic. From today's verses, Luke chapter 14, verse 25, large crowds were traveling with Jesus, and turning to them he said, there were majority of crowds to follow Jesus. People like to watch him and listen to what Jesus said. From his personal words, people have known Jesus, and they believed he had done wonderful works for them. People believed Jesus would save them from Rome. He made amazing miracles of feeding the 5,000. Also, he cured a lot of people from their illness. Jesus made great works on them. From today's verses, large crowds were traveling with Jesus. They just started with him on their purpose. However, Jesus wanted to see them with girls. He wanted them to become faithful disciples, but they did not act like being the ones. When some people like others, this means that those like the others. When Jesus called his disciples, Jesus said, please follow me, and you are the fishermen. Jesus wanted them to save others. And he said, I want people who save others. Jesus expected his disciples, and his disciples followed Jesus as what Jesus said. I want to talk about the Kiniwata Island. There was one missionary. His name is Jeon. He was honest and modest. In his country, there was a special ceremony to get married. When a man takes his fiancée, he's supposed to give a number of cows to the bride family. Nowadays, they give their bride family with 2 cows. But he thinks his fiancée has ugly face. He gives just 1 cow. It depends on the decisions of men. Johnny heard those women, and they talk about how many cows they took. And Johnny heard one of the stories from them. There was a woman. She has beautiful face, and most people say she was ugly before, but she changed a lot. And Johnny came to him and asked, how come you changed? And Johnny came to her husband. How come you changed her wife so lot? And then he said, I heard the stories from women working at the river, and they talk about how many cows they took. One of the women said, I received 2 cows. And another girl said, I received only 1, and she was embarrassed. After he heard of their sayings, he decided, whenever I had my fiancée, I'll give 8 cows. His fiancée's name is Salita. She has normal face, but he gave 8 cows to her family. After that, she has changed. And when Johnny came to his wife, she was really beautiful. the expectations have changed her attitude and faith. From today's verses, we are going to talk about what the detailed weight of the growth is. There are 3 points. The first one is that there is a question of our life. What is the way to become God's joy? The second one is that we do not tend to focus on their worries. Rather, we focus on our mission. The last point is that we need to deny ourselves. To begin with, the first point is that there is a question. The question is, what is the way to become God's joy? Luke chapter 14, verse 26. If anyone comes to me and does not what his father and mother, his wife and children, his brother and sister, yes, even his our life, he cannot be my disciple. God is the first and the great love to us. Matthew chapter 22 is about the greatest commandment. Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbors as yourself. It's not talk about the length of love, because there are 2 commandments we need to remember. To explain, it is described like constructing a building. To build, it needs a basement. For us, our God is the basement to hold. Next, it will be the second floor on it. For our next one, our neighbor is the next to our life. I want to talk about one of my friends. His name is Jeon. He's teaching in Seoul Women's University. In the end of his lessons, he always asks questions to his students. He says, any questions before we finish our lessons? It was quiet. After that, he said, okay, how about the second questions? As he says, his students start laughing and feel relaxed. Actually, his question is nonsense. Now, John chapter 15, verse 5. I'm the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I'm in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. From this verse, it mentioned that Jesus is the vine. We, as his children, are the branches. We need to stay in God, and He holds us forever. Actually, away from Him, we can do nothing, but in Him, we can make great. In our life, we talk about our living. We talk about the results to achieve something. So that's why we like to ask questions to others. Especially, they like talk about what we'll eat or what we'll drink. Matthew chapter 6 is about do not worry about your life. Do not worry about what you eat, what you drink. And also, it's not life more important than food, and the body more important than clothes. People like to talk about it can be achieved or not, but it does not relate to God's work. We can be the weight of God's love. There are many people to be respected. Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all those things will be given to you as well. A life can be a question. We need to see God's view. There are some people to look for asceticism and pietism. To relate it, these words, some people think about Jesus all days. Without him, they think cannot continue their life. So, in their imaginations, in 24 hours, they talk about God. However, most of them can be lied. Because when they focus on their words, they rely on their righteousness. They like to talk up behind the others and they judge others. They like to see their weakness and they talk about it. What the characteristic of those is that they focus on their ways without regarding to God's work. They like to talk about others' work. Jesus said, "We are the lambs," and Jesus takes us to in His right. He leads us to the perfect ways, and He already made what we need. We are His lambs, and we need to follow His way silently. Some people focus on their ways, and they spend a lot of energies to accomplish. John chapter 14, verse 6, Jesus answered, "I am the way, and the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you really knew me, you would know my Father as well. From now, you do not know him and have seen him." This verse, Jesus say, "I am the way." We just follow the way, and we can continue make the great life in Him. To continue His way, we believed He makes great things for us. When Jesus said, "You must come to the service," without any questions, we just come to service to pray. And there is a mission without any questions. We just attend the missions to make great work. If you Jesus said, "I'll be happy when you come," we just listen to His saying and just come to the mission. But some people, they like to follow their desires. They make some complaints to make other work without attending missions or the service. We need to develop and we need to make growth. Some people focus on their result. However, at the end, we cannot see any results from them. We have debated whether we are in His joy or not. The next point is that we do not focus on worries. We need to focus on our missions. Luke chapter 14, verse 27. "Anyone who does not carry his cross and follow me cannot be my disciples." We need to take our cross. Jesus crucified on the cross for us. And like Him, we need to take His cross and we can be His disciples. People can do His work, but some of them cannot be out of their worries. They have no any growth. We need to show different things on it. We facing a lot of
예를 들어서
troubles.
바울 같은 예를 들어봅시다. 육체에 가시가 있었어요. 몸이 안 좋았잖아요.
I want to give one example from one of Jesus'
그 육체에 가시가
disciples.
있음에도 불구하고 긍휼히
Paul
사역을 잘
had his
감당해냈다.
weakness on his body.
부셔줄만 하죠. 그것도.
He
또
had
어떤
great
사람은
work
속속이는 자녀가
for
있습니다. 자녀에
Jesus'
매달려가지고
work.
어떻게든 걔를 믿음으로 변화시키려고 이 붙들려
Paul
있는 인생. 그것도
was not
괜찮죠.
Christians.
그러나
Paul did
성장의
not
측면으로
believe
보세요.
Jesus,
자기
but
삶의
after he
가시라는
listened to
삶의
Jesus'
문제에만
voice,
매달려가지고
he changed.
그거 풀릴 때까지만 계속 머물러 있으면
And
거기 갇혀 있는 겁니다. 성장 없어요.
He did not hesitate
내가
to
그 이번에도
glorify
그
God.
어떤 여자 성도님들
If he
성도님들
focused on his
안수기,
weakness,
특별히니까 안수기도 하지 않습니까?
he could not make the
이전에
great
있을 때부터
work
같이 알던
to
분들.
glorify God.
이분은 3년 전에도 자식 놓고 기도하고 아들 놓고 기도하고
This month we
작년
have a
전에도
special
아들
dawn
놓고, 10년 전에도
service.
아들 놓고 기도하고.
After delivering
이번에도
God's
아들 놓고
message,
기도하고 왔더라고요. 참 지겹지도 않나.
I gave
그랬어요. 그
my
아들 놓고
church
기도하지 말자는 게
members
아니에요. 포기하자는
with
게
a lot of
아들 놓고
blessings.
기도하는데 왜 거기에만 매달려
When
딴
church
일을 못
members
하냐고요, 딴
came to
일을.
me, they bring their
그거
prayers
기도하면서
list.
하나님이 내게 주신 사명이
I
뭔가
know
그거
one of
가야 될거
church
아니에요.
members.
근데 아들 때문에
She
성도도 못 가요. 아들
always
밥 해줘야
came to
된다고.
me and
무엇이 묶여 있는지
she said,
대단한 존재 그거 아니거든요.
"Please
이렇게 떠나가야 되는데
pray for my
그걸
son."
못하는 거예요, 이거를.
Actually,
뭐 가끔 여자분들 가운데
she
그래요.
has
뭐
come to me
자기가
more than 10
가면 안
years.
되는데 남편 밥은 누가 해줘?
She always pray for
가기를
his
원해요.
sons.
남편도 가기를 맨날 그 음식도 못 하면서
She cannot go for missions because her family.
음식도 못 하면서 성실하니
Actually,
어디 나가서 먹기도 못 하고.
She can go for a mission.
떠나보라고요. 살찌고
Her
다
husbands
이렇게 있고,
want
유벽해지고.
her to go for
이제
missions.
드디어 인생의 깊이를 알겠다. 이렇게 변한다고
Most
사람이.
wives
자기
worry
대답을
about
해주지 않아요?
their
그거 말고
family
내
and
사명이
husbands.
뭔가 사명으로 움직이면
However,
나머지 다 변화되나?
most husbands
왜 그걸
think
몰라요?
differently.
어떤 사람은 결혼에 매여 있어. 결혼 문제 해결하는
In our church,
날마다 결혼. 아침에
some young people they talk about their marriage.
결혼이야. 모든 판단 기준이 결혼이야, 결혼. 팀 옮겨 살래요. 왜 그래?
They want to take their partners to get married. In their mouths, they talk about marriage,
결혼 때문에 옮겨 달라. 결혼.
but they do not think about their missions to glorify God.
사명 가지고 뛰다 보면 사명자들이 옆에 있을 거 아니야. 그러다 보면
But when you do God's work, God helps you to meet partner. But some people, they think they need to find themselves.
초월이 필요합니다. 문제, 고난, 가시.
We need to work
그거
hard.
있더라도
With
그냥
this,
사명으로 초월해.
we need to think
사명에
about our missions.
여건 따지지 말고 뭐 고성계
When
가야
you
된다.
believe
다
this
뻔해요,
is
그냥.
our mission to
사명이다
go
그러면
for our
가라고요.
missions,
그럼 나머지 다 해결돼요. 아무리 바빠도 여러분 밥은 먹고 살잖아요.
we need to
아무리
go
바빠도
without
살지
any
말잖아요.
hesitation,
이걸 왜 변수로 생각해?
without any limitations.
그냥
We
무조건
just move
간다라고
on.
생각하면 될 거 아니에요. 그래서 중요한 게 뭐냐면 제발 여러분의 인생을
With
결정할
their
때 환경이
environment,
결정하게 만들지 말라고요.
They cannot
환경이 내
go.
인생을 결정하려고 그러지 말고 사명이 내 인생을
They cannot make their own
어떤
decisions
의사결정 모르면 다 환경이 결정이야.
to move on.
돈이에요, 돈.
However,
그 사람이 사는지
through
그
ours,
사람이 뭐 하는 행동들 다 돈이 결정해.
they have a lot of
돈 때문에
limitations,
꼼짝달싹을 못 한대.
so we cannot
언제까지 그렇게 살 거예요?
perform
언제까지?
in our work.
아, 돈 없으면 좀 어때요? 그지가
With the
시작하면
missions,
되지. 이미 그지인데. 사명고 움직여
it
봐요.
can
그러면
make
죽냐, 안
a new
죽어요, 안
life.
죽어.
And also,
환경과
God shows
그냥
us
묶여가지고 꼼짝달싹도
with
못
great
하는
work.
인생들. 답답하죠, 답답해.
this time we can grow.
사명 응답할 때. 사명. 24시간
Within 24 hours, we think about other things,
하나님으로 많이 묵상
but we do focus one thing. It cannot make accomplishment.
진단을 받았는데
In our church, some church members think about their illness,
암 고칠 수도 있잖아요. 뭐 암으로 다 죽어요?
but
죽지도 않잖아요.
with these
요즘에.
diseases,
내가 심장 안 먹어도 죽지도 않아.
they
안 죽어요,
cannot
잘.
make
5년
missions.
정도 뭐 가끔
They
죽어요.
talk
세상에
about
더 많아.
their illness.
암 걸리면 어때요? 뭐 예를 들어서 나이도 70대
However,
암과 함께 한 30년 살면 되지 뭐.
with this illness,
꼭 고쳐야 돼요?
without any
뭐
hesitations,
달고 다니면 되잖아 30년 동안.
just work for God's glory.
근데 암에 걸렸다 그랬더니 이분이 24시간
Some church members who had cancers
네이버를 쳐가지고 암
go to the library to see any solutions to serve.
뭐 물어보면
However, when they focus on their illness,
도대체 뭐 하자는 건지
they do not continue their work. I want to them to get out of their illness.
어떤 사람은 주식에 묶여가지고
Some church
맨날
members, they talk about money.
어떤 사람은 애인에 묶여가지고
They
사랑하는 게 좋다고
cannot get out of
근데
money.
애인만
They
생각해
just
하루
follow
종일
it
24시간 애인만
to
생각해
make
잘하는 거예요?
a lot of money.
여자분들 그런 남자 좋아해요?
Moreover,
먹여 살려야 돼?
some
그러면은
people focus on their love. They talk about their partners,
사명을 생각해야죠.
not church members.
좋은 경제 애인도 생각. 이래야 되는 거지.
Some church members,
그 아들이 결혼해가지고
they talk about
손주가 태어났더니
their grandchildren.
손주밖에 몰라요. 뭐 전화 걸고 새벽에도 못 나오는데.
They say, I cannot come to the service because I need to look after my grandchildren.
손주 사진 보여주고.
When I heard this saying, I felt sad because attending the service is more important to take care of their children. They forget their missions. Also, they talk about their worries. Jesus wants us to focus on our mission. We just focus on external appearances and atmosphere. We have worries in our life. Some people think that forget their worries, but it doesn't make sense. With the worries, we move on to the mission. This time, with the combinations, God helps us to become great work. Also, God heals us, and later we can become clean. In our body, we have illness or stress. However, to get rid of, we just focus on missions. So God heals us. 1 Samuel chapter 23. David hid himself from King Saul. David had 400 servants at Adullam. He did not think about King Saul. He ignored King Saul following or not. David heard the Philistines would attack the people and kill her. So David did not hesitate. He just went and took his servants to the place. He wanted to save the killer. This is his course. Without any hesitations, he just moved on. After winning the war, he obtained more than 200 servants. So he took the 600 servants to work. Some church members facing to their worries, they like to hide themselves, but they cannot make any growth to open up. When you open up your worries, other church members pray for them, and also it can serve their worries. The last point is that we need to deny ourselves. From today's verses, Luke chapter 14, verse 28 to 33, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Will he not first sit down and estimate the cost to see if he has enough money to complete? For if he lays the foundations and it is not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule him, saying, "This fellow began to build and was not able to finish." Or suppose the king is about to go to war against another king. Will he not first sit down and consider whether he is able with 10,000 men to oppose the one coming against him with 20,000? If he is not able, he will send delegations, while the one is still a long way off, and we ask for time of peace. In the same way, any of you who does not give up everything he has cannot be my disciples. The truth was the tower and two kings. The meaning of building a tower is that when people begin to work, they show their
이게 지금 개척한 지 2년 됐지 않습니까?
the research of the task.
2년이 뭐 긴 시간
They should end up their work.
뭐좀 충성하다가
It should make the result of worse.
힘들어.
It can be obedience. Our church has opened more than 2 years. Now, as we see, some church members have already left from this church because they cannot continue their work. Revelation chapter 2 verse 10. On the Lord's days, I was in my spirit, and I heard behind me a loud voice like a trumpet. People depend on their righteousness. With their emotions, they continue their work or not.
한번 시작하면 끝장 보라 그 얘기예요. 그게 자기 부인이라고.
From these verses,
간단한 얘기입니다. 어떤 임금님이
it focuses on the two kings. One king had 1,000 servants, and the other one had 2,000. The number of servants was different. As we guess, the king who had 2,000 servants might win against the other king. Luke chapter 14, verse 33. In the same way, any of you who does not give up everything he has cannot be my disciples. Some church members talk about their wealth. They think they have a lot comparing to others. However, we need to give up ourselves, and we must be his disciples. To illustrate, we know a parable of the talents. When I heard this story of talents, I thought God gave unfair because there are 3 servants. One had 5. Another one had 2. The other one had 1 only. But when I think about the meaning of the talent, I was wrong. To illustrate, one owner divides his talent to his servant. He gave 5 talents of money to another talent and to another 1 talent. Matthew chapter 25, verse 15 to 1. He gave 5 talents of money to another 2 talents and to another 1 talent, each according to his ability. It was not his thought, for 3 people have different talents according to his ability. The owner talked about their talent and he considered how many talents he must give for each servant. The owner was right. He followed for each servant's ability. Some people think that the last servant had 1 talent only. They think it is unfair for the person. However, they are wrong because the price was not right in estimations. In children's Sunday school, most Sunday school teachers easily give them a talent. However, the meaning of talents is different. The weight of 1 gold bar is 34 kilograms, and the price is 5 million won. Actually, the gold bar is really big, and the price is really high. The price in Korean is 5 million won. Actually, the weight is 34 kilograms. The price might be $1.7 million.
여기 34인 사람이
One talent
한 달란트 적은 게
is not
아니에요.
low.
많이 줬다라는 거예요.
It
적게
is
준 게 아니라고.
really expensive.
근데 한 달란트 받은
But
사람이
people
태도가
saying
어떻게
it's just
17억이나
one
받아놓고
talent.
마태복음 25장 24절
This means
보니까
that
당신은 굳은
it is
사람이다.
unfair.
심지 않으면서
However,
거두고 해치지 않으면서 모으는 줄
the
내가
owner
알았다.
was
이러면서
different.
두려워서 땅에
Matthew chapter
묻었다.
25, verse 24, that the man who had received the one talent to come,
하나님 나쁜 분이라고
Master
믿어요.
replied, I knew that you are the hard man, harvesting where you have none,
적인 거예요. 그죠? 그래서
sons, and gathering where you had not scattered seed.
최소한도로 하려고 그러고.
From this verse, as we guess, the servant
기본적인 거 하려고 그러고 그냥 구원받기에 그냥 마지막
left the talent
교회도
under the
그냥
ground.
기본적으로 드리려고 그러고
He did not make any scattered to produce.
그래요.
The other servants make multiple. However, the last servant was different. Like the last person, some church members behaved. They talk about their sins. They rely on their righteousness, and they did not want to make any research. They just started. However, the research was different. It doesn't make any satisfactions to them. We need to obey God. As we listen to our Master, it can make a great accomplishment. We need to obey God with our heart. It can be the point of death if it doesn't make great. We know the story about Adam and Eve. Humans would like to become the kings. They like to govern the others. Genesis chapter 3 verse 5, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. People like to judge others' behavior. People like to note good and evil, and they like to make their own decisions. People have nothing. They cannot make any great work without Him. But they rely on their righteousness. They want to become God. But in their mind, there is any growth. We need to follow God. Now, David was different. God praised David what he had done. David spared Saul's life. 1 Samuel chapter 24 verse 12. May the Lord judge between you and me, and may the Lord avenge the wrongs you had done to me, but my hand will not touch you. David caught Saul, but David did not want to touch Saul because he did not want to judge him. And also, David followed God's will. David claimed that I am God's servant. I need to follow what God said. David showed the power from his face. He received the power. Also, he just obeyed God's voice. Some people, they make their own decisions according to their desire. However, at the end, they do not show any great result, so they regret what he had done. But without any desire, we need to become modest, and we need to deny ourselves. I want you to believe God. To summarize, we do not stay with others. we just follow Jesus.
무엇이 성장이에요?
And also we need to
인생은 질문이에요.
become his
무엇이 하나님의
children.
기쁨인가? 잘 될까 안 될까? 무엇을 먹을까? 무엇을 마실까?
We do not think
그런
about our
질문이
life.
저속한 인생이 저속한 거예요.
We like to talk
질문이
about
하나님의 기쁨이
food
무엇입니까? 이 질문
or
앞에
clothes.
순종한다 그러면
However, when you focus on these things, we cannot make any
사명이
growth.
설정하면
We need to focus on our mission.
또 자기 부인입니다.
And also, we need to deny ourselves.
능력버리면 성장.
And also, it can make
여러분들이 아무쪼록
a
삶의
great
모든 부분에
result
성장이 있는
and
하나님의
growth.
거룩한 종되길 바랍니다.
I want you to
성장의
become the
세 가지.
faith servant.
기, 사,
And also,
하나님의 기쁨.
we need to become
사,
His great joy.
부, 자기 부.
We need to follow the missions.
기사부. 두사부일체도 있죠.
And also,
기사부일체도 있습니다.
we need to obey
이 세
His
가지를
word.
붙들고 언제나 하나님 앞에서 이 성장이 있는 믿음의
We need
성장이
to
있는
make
축원합니다.
a growth.
자리에 서련하겠습니다.
And we need to pray a lot.
찬양하겠습니다.